So today, guys, we got the UFC 304 event coming up, so we're just going to give our little predictions, have a little discussion about it. First off, well, bit of news today came that Mokaev and Kape, they're getting moved to the early prelims, which is an interesting thing, I must say. I kind of feel like it's to do with the British timing, the fact that the card's actually until 4 a.m., so maybe they're trying to keep people excited. But Mokaev has been quite a well-known name now coming up in the flyweight division. Obviously, Cape did ruin that with the fact that he did miss weight and he also didn't turn up to the other fight. So, what are your thoughts, Jason, mate?
Can't lie, I'm very shocked. I expected him to be on the main card. I think he deserves a main card fight at the end of the day. He's done good in the division, and he's on a pretty good streak at the moment, I believe. So
yeah, I mean the guy's undefeated at the moment. He's got 12 wins, one no contest. So he is undefeated right now. Obviously, Cape's had his bouts. I mean, we're still waiting really for the Kara France fight he wanted, but I mean when he's not being able to make weight, it's not looking good with his
that's the price
kind
you
of up and
pay,
coming.
isn't it? Really, if you're not gonna make the weight.
Yeah, well, a lot of people were expecting him to kind of work his way up to the top of the flyweights, but obviously it's been a bit disappointing so far. However, maybe them putting him down to the early prelims is to do with trying to keep the retention span of the British audience, really, because you're going to want to kind of keep them busy from the get-go.
I have to disagree. Especially, obviously, us two being British, I think the British MMA fans are one of probably the elite fans of the sports. We stay up till 3, 4, 6 o'clock, near enough every weekend for these fights. The least of our worries is staying interested, especially when it's the first time in 2 years, I believe, that we've actually come back to England.
Well, they had the big card, didn't they, with Paddy and Aspinall. Everyone like that was on the other card. That was at regular hours, though. But to be fair, that was, I believe, in London, I think. I want to say. It was in London, so obviously it was at regular hours. So it might be licensing with the venue that's a little bit different, because obviously they're in Manchester this time. So it might just be that aspect, but yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an interesting move by the UFC, especially with them being both kind of up and coming flyweights, but it might just be a tactical position on their side just to try and get people a bit more entertained from the get-go instead of people coming in late. They want maybe people to come in during the early prelims, because you do see those stadiums where they're only half full.
It is upsetting because I'd be there from the start if it was me paying for my tickets.
So we're going to start with predictions now. So we're going to go with the Mokaev fight first, which is where I personally think he's got it. I mean, the 12-0 kind of shows a lot, especially with this kind of going in. Hopefully the winner of this one will get a top 5 to top 3 opponent. Obviously Pantoja's ruling that at the moment, and one thing I like about it is he's kind of set on that division. He's not going for the double champ status like every other champion right now. He's kind of pretty settled on.
He knows his place. He knows his place, and he's happy in his place at the end of the day, which is, especially nowadays, is very unlikely to see.
Well, it'll be good to have a dominant champion for a bit, because nowadays, especially with middleweight, everything like that, everything's kind of balls to the wall. There's so much happening, and a lot of people are not really wanting to defend. They just kind of want to defend the belt a few times and then go for the weight class above them, which a lot of people are doing, and you can see why, because obviously double champ status is very it's kind of a cliche thing now. People wanting
to get in. It's the best thing to get in UFC.
Yeah, exactly that. So, but I personally think, I think Mokaev's got this. I think he's going to use a lot of wrestling to it. He's well-rounded, very, very good wrestling, well-rounded with the striking as well. So I think he's going to make his wrestling count with this one. With Cape, he's got his strength on his power. He has a lot of power shots behind him. So I think Mokaev's going to try and wrestle him and try and get that advantage on the wrestling front.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hold off on the Mokaev knockout though. I'd like to see that. I think it's something that's possible, can happen. He's done it a few times, so.
Definitely, and like I said, 12-0 speaks for itself. Hopefully the winner of this one will get that kind of opportunity
top 5,
to then go top 5. Yeah, definitely.
Top 5 would be really good.
they're both up and comers with this division, so there'd be no reason for them not to then go for top 5 on them. So next fight we got up is the first one of the main card now, which is the Allen versus Giga fight. To be honest, I'm quite torn for this one. Allen's shown he has strong striking, very strong striking. Giga's quite unpredictable, and especially with his last fight, it was very unpredictable. He kind of throws around, he uses kicks very well. He is very unpredictable with it. I think it will be a very fun fight with the striking aspect.
I think, yeah, no, I agree, and I think Allen has now got to he's got to show what he's kind of worth. He's on a two fight losing streak, possibly 3, and especially Max Holloway. Losing to Max Holloway, yeah. So
yeah, you can't really knock him for losing against the kind of top tier. Obviously, he went against Max, and Max has obviously done his thing because Max is just kind of that different level, and Max has just been tearing up the featherweights in general at this point. With Allen, I think his striking, also with him being home, it might help out. I know that he has fought home on the last card, and I think he was in the card before that possibly, but correct me if I'm wrong. But so he does perform well, and hopefully he brings that to it this time. But as I said, with the Giga, he's just so unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do next. He kind of throws around, goes a bit crazy. So I think that'll be a very good opener for the main card. Personally, I think
I'm excited. I'm excited to see that for the first fight of the night on the main card.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice kind of interesting start. It'll be a good, hopeful striking fight, and it'll just be good to see both of them kind of do it. With Allen as well, he has got a chin on him.
Yeah, like I say, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him be able to like bring it home. You know what I mean? A British fighter, so it'd be very good to see.
Well, they say that there's a bit of kind of there's lots of pressure with fighting home, but at the same time, it kind of does put pressure on other fighters as well, like Giga, because they're going against the home front, so they're going to be getting booed and all that, and some fighters don't deal well with that.
Especially with our English crowd.
Exactly, they're very loud. They're very they're very loud with it. So if he's getting booed and all that kind of stuff, then you don't really know what's going to happen with it.
I want to say Arnold Allen's going to win, but I think Giga might just win this one at the end of the day. It looks a lot better. He looked really good in his last fight as well. So
well, he's coming off the injury, so I think Allen might just take it. So up next we got Paddy and Bobby Green. Now there's a bit of bad blood with these two. Bobby's been saying to Paddy a while, and Paddy's now kind of started talking a bit of smack and everything like that about Bobby, saying that he's going to break him and all that kind of stuff. So what are your original thoughts about this one, do you think?
I think it can either be a really, really exciting fight, or it's going to be a flop. I think there's nothing in between this one. It's going to be a war, or it just ain't going to do anything, which would be pretty upsetting. Obviously, Bobby Green's coming off a win from Jim Miller at the UFC 300. Absolutely love the fight. I'm really excited for it to see what happens.
He kind of, with Bobby's, he's got that awkward thing. Obviously, he had that big knockout from Turner, but I think that's because of the kind of stance he does. He does the Philly shell, which is an interesting one in MMA. Obviously, Sean Strickland, big person that uses it, and then Bobby Green. So with Turney's, he kind of took that advantage of using it against him, where he came with a big shot over that Philly kind of defense. But I would personally say Turner is more of a qualified striker than Paddy. We've kind of seen Paddy's game plan of striking kind of go out the window when he went against Jared Gordon. I feel like that exposed him a lot. When it came to it, his hype really went down. I think a big thing of this will be kind of determine how much the hype goes up, whether it goes down or up with this, because if he comes off a loss with Bobby Green, I think he'll go down, but if it goes up, then it could work its way up.
This is his biggest fight in the UFC so far, you know what I mean? Obviously, you got the Jared Gordon fight. Paddy, did he really perform in it?
No. A lot of people say he lost. His chin was high up in the air when he was striking. Yeah. With the Tony fight, he kind of wrestled Tony as well, so a lot of people kind of put that as he didn't want to strike with him, because
as much as it's upsetting to say this from two UFC diehard fans, Tony's on his way now. He's on a 6-fight losing streak, I believe it is. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not really as big as it would be about 3 years ago, let's say, to win against Tony Ferguson. So
well, they both beat him as well. Bobby Green and Paddy have both beat Tony Ferguson. I would say Bobby kind of did more of an impressive performance, if anything, because Paddy kind of just wrestled him and all that kind of stuff. And Paddy, I think this will be an interesting one. I think if Paddy wrestles with Bobby, I think that'll be how he wins. But I think if they're striking, I personally see Bobby actually taking this, because I think Bobby has more of a striking attitude with it. He kind of comes forward. He's got that awkward Philly shell. He works hard with it. Paddy does good grappling. He's got his jiu-jitsu with him. The striking aspect, we don't know, because he had a bit of a layoff after the Tony fight. Obviously he had his baby, he had surgery, so he might be doing some background stuff. We don't know whether he come out a bit heavy with the striking.
I believe he'll come out with striking. Obviously from what he's saying, obviously he's not a very happy guy, and I think he's going to want to hurt Bobby Green personally. So I wouldn't be shocked if he comes out and we see an actual fight on the standing up, which I'm not going to lie, I'd love to see. I want to see how Paddy proves himself against a seasoned fighter.
There's a lot of kind of aspects that he can go down with this fight, but there is a bit of bad blood with it. Next we have the co-main event, which is Blaydes and Aspinall. Now this one is going to be an interesting one. Obviously they fought before, ended in unfortunate injury with Aspinall, and obviously he's been on the recovery. He's come back with a resurgence. I mean, he's got the win over Pavlovich, and he's come up fast with this. Curtis Blaydes has got some great, he's really been learning. You could tell with him where he started off as a very, very opportunistic wrestler, but you can tell with his team and everything, he's been learning the kind of striking, and he's been doing well, and the guy is just huge. Like you can't follow how massive he is.
No.
So yeah, what we got on our predictions with this one?
Obviously, I want my British boy to bring it home. I can't lie. Love Tom to bring it home still. Carry on the belt. But honestly, I think this is going to be Tom's biggest fight as well, as much as it is Curtis's. They're both looking amazing form. Honestly, today I watched the UFC countdown, and watching these two alone made me so excited for this fight. Curtis Blaydes, when he went against Francis Ngannou, got thrown in at the deep end a little bit, didn't know striking, didn't have proper coaches, and obviously now he's got the proper coaches, and
yeah, I mean,
he's looking really good. Yeah, he looks so good, and I think this is the best Curtis Blaydes we've probably ever saw.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like I said, he was a well-decorated wrestler, and that's the thing, like you said, with the Ngannou fight, it kind of seemed like after that fight he needed to know the difference with it. And yeah, I mean, he's definitely surged from that. He's got a good team behind him, but you could say the same thing about Tom. Tom said a lot of pressure does come with fighting from home, but I feel like it could go either way with this. Not even just a knockdown though. Like, both of them have good jiu-jitsu, both of them have good wrestling. I personally think if they're going to win in jiu-jitsu, it would be Aspinall. Curtis is more of a defensive person when it comes to jiu-jitsu. He doesn't really go for the submissions. He normally defends against them. I've seen on some of the videos and stuff, they've been mainly drilling the defenses of them, like guillotines and kind of heavyweight. So it seems like they're more kind of defending against them, which leads me to say either Aspinall's going to get a sub, but they both got heavy hands. They're both going to kind of, with heavyweight, it only takes one punch.
Scary hands. And Tom's fast as well.
Tom moves like a light heavyweight. And
He now only fights heavyweights.
That's the thing. They're both with Aspinall. I think he's got the speed on his side. He's proven many times. It's going to be interesting how this goes. To be honest, the first fight, that was obviously about 2 years ago, I want to say. So it's been a bit of time since they first met. I think they're both going to bring it, because the thing is with the heavyweight division right now, it's an interesting state, obviously with the John Jones and Stipe, everything happening with that. Now, will this decorate Aspinall more and maybe lead Aspinall to more different things with heavyweight, or maybe the Pereira fight? A lot of people have been asking about that. So it opens up doors.
I'd love to see it, but I think at the end of the day, the UFC needs to sort it out. Personally, Tom v John needs to happen. You've got an interim fight here. Should you be defending an interim belt? Not really. Yes, John Jones got injured. I understand that. Everyone understands that. But it's a bit of a layoff now.
Yeah, and the thing is with I feel like with Curtis winning, it's good. It's a good refreshing thing because I mean that adds more kind of different fighters to the equation. But at the same time, with Tom winning, it does kind of open more opportunities because you'll have things like the John Jones, the Alex fight, everything like that. You got all these fights that can work out with Tom Aspinall, and he's on a surgence. So I personally think I have Aspinall winning this. I think, to be honest, either way, I think he could either get the sub or he could get the knockout. With Aspinall, is you kind of just, it can go either way, which is more impressive because with heavyweights, they normally either they're big strikers or they're big wrestlers. But with Aspinall, is he's so well rounded, and you can say the same thing about Curtis Blades. But personally, I think Aspinall has got more of that drive, and he's on that kind of come up.
I believe Aspinall just tips the scales between these two at the end of the day, and it's gonna. I think it's gonna be such a close fight. It's either gonna be a knockout straight away, or it's gonna go to the deep ends of that 4th, 5th round.
So now we have the main event. So we have Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad. Now this one is got a bit of bad blood. Again, they've met before, just like the co-main with the eye poke. Now obviously, they both had their own stories with that one. Belal having eye surgery beforehand and then getting the eye poke, so obviously he's not happy with that. And Edwards saying that he kind of overplayed it, which obviously leads to a bit more tension with the rematch.
I don't believe he overplayed it at the end of the day. Through having surgery on your eyes, it's a big thing. I think Belal also mentioned that Leon doesn't have the heart, whereas Belal does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he commented on that, didn't he, with the whole Usman
fight, where
motivation and all that.
Yeah, so and I can't lie, I can see that. You can see Belal does have the heart in fights, which would be very good. But Leon's brought in some top people. Obviously, he's at Fearless MMA. He's brought in all his top coaches into one place to make the best he can be.
Yeah, I mean, as well with that is, you do have that, because don't get me wrong, it was a very, very inspirational, cool video, motivating, all that, with to see the whole don't let him bully your son, all that kind of stuff. But in a sense, it does kind of get to that part where it's like, well, he needed that motivation, and I get that it's a coach's job, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you have those times where that 4th round was pretty dominant by Usman, first fight, or second fight technically. However, that does show maybe a little bit of the heart. But recently he has dealt with wrestlers well, which I think will be a predominant of Belal's game. He's come with Khabib with this one. Khabib has given him a game plan, apparently, he's saying, which, knowing Khabib, obviously that will be predominantly wrestling. So Leon has handled well against wrestlers with Colby Covington. He's gone against Usman a few times now. So granted, the last fight with Usman, there was a bit of iffy things with the defenses because he used the fence a few times. He with the takedown.
Used the cage.
Yeah, he uses the cage and everything like that. So there is that kind of aspect where it's like, well, fair enough on that fight, but with the Colby one, he defended well. He's got some good. He's again well-rounded. He's got some good defense on him. But I think Belal has got obviously the upper advantage with his wrestling, which I think he's gonna wholeheartedly use against Leon on this one.
I think if Leon keeps this on the feet, then it's going to be Leon's fight every day. He's fast with his hands, if not one of the fastest in the division. I don't see Belal outstriking Leon at all, personally speaking.
No.
But again, if you take it to the ground, I think it's anyone's game and anything can happen.
Yeah, I think with Leon, he's one of the top tier strikers, really. And if Belal was going to strike with him, then it's going to be a long night. But also at the same time, Belal's pressure does break people. And that's the thing, he will pressure,
Indeed.
he will ground and pound, he will do all those things. I think, personally, I'm going to have Leon by knockout. I think they're going to come with big intention. And he's going to try and go for the knockout, I think, because he knows that
he's going to want to make the statement.
Yeah, and I think if he knows that Belal's going to go for the takedown, he's going to try and take advantage of that and try and get him when he's going for a takedown or when he's up on his feet. He's not going to want to take it to the ground because he knows how bad that could be with Belal's background, especially with, like I said, Khabib in his corner. He's got that kind of experience. He's a pressure fighter. Leon needs to stay patient, use his advantages in striking to get him away, defending those takedowns, because then it could just be a mess for him.
I think Leon's going to come out with a lot of intentions of knocking Belal out. The bad blood's there.
He's home as well, which
he's home, and you're going to want to make the statement, especially at home.
Perfect. Well, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed our little prediction, a bit of a discussion as well around this UFC card. We're very excited. We are going to be up till 5, 6 in the morning, as per the pain of being British UFC fans. But we hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's a bit different from what we normally do, but hopefully we'll produce more content with this. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Peace and enjoy the weekend.
See ya.